Hello, Homestead. Please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And now for a moment of silence.
Hello, Homestead. I'm Jack Adams.
And I'm Jessica Walter.
It's Friday, April 27th, and time for today's episode of HHS In Depth.
On today's show, you'll see a story over Homestead's Teacher of the Year for the 2017-18 school year, Mrs. Merkeling.
You'll see how PE teacher Mr. Frazier got to compete in his second straight Boston Marathon last week.
You'll learn about the people who prep the school lunch each and every single day.
You'll see how a select group of our band and orchestra students get ready for the big ISSMA competition that takes place every spring.
Juniors will learn how they can join the National Honor Society board for next school year.
You'll meet our softball team in this week's 2-minute drill with Garrett Willis.
And Joe is in to take a look at our weather forecast this weekend and another Whether or Not.
We'll bring you all those stories and much more, so stay tuned for today's episode of HHS In Depth.
We begin today's show with a story over this year's Teacher of the Year for Homestead High School. Reporter Sydney Scholl recently sat down with this year's winner, the Science Department's Mrs. Merkeling.
During a weekly faculty meeting last week, the Teacher of the Year award for the 2017-2018 school year was announced, and Homestead is pleased to congratulate the environmental science teacher, Mrs. Merkeling, on her achievement.
This is my 9th year teaching here at Homestead. Initially, when I was hired, I taught for 2 years in the Freshman Academy teaching biology, and then this is my 7th year teaching the environmental science program, so I teach environmental and AP environmental science. I found out that I received this award at our faculty meeting on Thursday, and after that I had numerous tears of gratitude and just happiness. I was not expecting it at all, and so it was quite the honor.
In order to become Teacher of the Year at Homestead, staff members are given the opportunity to write a letter of recommendation for another teacher they feel deserves this prestigious award. The nominees are then voted on by a board to determine the final winner.
The process for being awarded the Teacher of the Year starts with an email from administration. It gets sent out to all of the faculty, and it encourages our colleagues to nominate or recommend teachers for the academic performance in the classroom, involvement outside of the classroom.
Mrs. Merkeling describes this recognition as humbling and a great experience and opportunity to thank fellow Homestead staff for their hard work and commitment to making this school the best they can every day.
I am deeply grateful for this award, but I know that there are so many teachers in this building that give it their all every day. And so I want to thank the rest of this phenomenal faculty that I teach with for the effort and work that they put into there every day as well. And I especially really want to thank the teachers who took time out of their really busy schedules to nominate me for this year. And so I'm just very grateful to the learning environment that I live in and all of the teachers and staff and faculty in this great building.
Mrs. Merkeling is now eligible for Sacs District Teacher of the Year, along with 8 other contestants from other district schools. The teacher awarded in the district competition will then be in the running for overall Indiana Teacher of the Year. Reporting for HHS In Depth, I'm Sydney Scholl.
Want to visit the equator, waterfalls, a famous Latin American market, volcanoes, hot springs, a school, and do a lot more for a week next summer? Homestead Spanish students will have the opportunity to travel to Ecuador in June 2019 to improve their Spanish while learning more about the culture of this beautiful country. Talk to any Spanish teacher if you would like more information about the trip.
Homestead's Junior-Senior Prom is on Saturday, May 19th. If you plan to bring a guest who is not a current Homestead student, you will need to complete a guest request form. Please plan ahead because the form requires the signatures of the guest parent and an administrator from the guest's current high school. Completed forms are due by 3 p.m. on Wednesday, May 9th. Forms are available on the Homestead website as well as in the discipline office.
Homestead's JV and varsity dance team tryouts are the week of May 7th. In preparation, all those interested in trying out are invited to attend a free technique workshop in the dance room on Mondays and Wednesdays from 3 to 4 p.m. Email blombardo@sacs.k12.in.us or stop by the dance room with any questions. Head on down as all are welcome to attend.
The HHS Spring musical Anything Goes is just around the corner. Start making plans to see it next Friday and Saturday, May 4th and 5th at 7 p.m. and on Sunday, May 6th at 2 p.m. Tickets are $10 and can be purchased during all lunch mods and at the door.
And now here's a story over our very own Mr. Frazier, who recently competed in his second straight Boston Marathon. Reporter Carson Clymer brings you the story.
Mr. Frazier, one of Homestead's health department teachers, recently ran the Boston Marathon for the second time.
I started running it in the fall of 2013, and then this last Boston was my 9th marathon.
This year's Boston Marathon differs from last year's for Mr. Frazier, as he ran for more than just himself.
I wasn't necessarily running just for me. I have a good friend of mine that I've trained with for a long time. We've actually run several marathons together that was diagnosed with breast cancer. And so that occurred last summer. And so the fact that she was able to run it all and for us to be able to run together, it was inspiring to me.
Mr. Frazier was able to enjoy the experience beyond just the race this year.
My favorite part of Boston was probably getting a chance to just take in the entire event. Last year I went very closed-minded and wanted to just run the race well. Whereas this year I was able to walk the Freedom Trail. I was able to take in some of the history of the city, the restaurants, just some things that I just didn't take the time to do last year.
While there were difficulties, Mr. Frazier felt accomplished in his completion of the race.
I was running a very comfortable pace right about where I wanted to be. Felt my hamstrings start to kind of grab a little bit and get tight, and I just knew that I needed to listen to my body. So I ended up walking the last 10.2 miles, and in those conditions made it very difficult. There were a lot of people that suffered from hypothermia and had to drop out of the race, including some of the elite men and women, including like Galen Roop, who's one of the best marathon runners in the United States. So it was challenging. It was incredibly challenging. And so for that reason, I think that last year went so well, but I'm probably more proud of just finishing this year.
Mr. Frazier wants it to be known that no dream is ever too big. He never expected to complete 2 Boston Marathons, but his hard work and determination paid off. Reporting for HHS In Depth, I'm Carson Clymer.
Attention Biomed Club members, there is a meeting next Wednesday, May 2nd, where Homestead will be hosting Juan Valdez, Stephanie Ajay, and Olivia Johnson, medical school students at the IU Med School. They will also be confirming officers for next year. The meeting will last from 2:45 to 3:30 in room 215, Mrs. Barron's room. This will be the last meeting of the school year. Go out with questions and snacks will be provided.
Yes, the rumors are true. The 2018 Homestead Ping Pong Championship are coming soon to the Cafeteria. Think you have what it takes to win the coveted solid gold-colored golden paddle? Email Mr. Hill at shill@sacs.k12.in.us or stop by room 210 to have your name added to the list of competitors.
Dare to be a force of nature and go out to the next environmental club next Tuesday in Mrs. Merkling's room, room 206. And a special congratulations goes out to Elena Chen, who painted the first place winning rain barrel at Sunday's Earth Day celebration fundraiser near Eagle Marsh. They hope to see everyone on Tuesday at 2:45.
Join Young Progressives for a discussion today from 2:45 to 3:30 in room 614. All are welcome and snacks will be provided.
Seniors, if you have any memories from your 4 years here at Homestead that you would like to see in the video played at graduation, please email pictures to hhs.graduationvideo@gmail.com. Feel free to send more than one email with pictures attached.
Each and every school day, a group of cafeteria workers prep the food to potentially be served to 2,300 students at lunch. Reporter Reed Burton brings you a story over the process of making what you eat every single school day.
Few students give a second thought to the work that goes into preparing their school lunches. I visited Homestead's kitchen to shed some light on what really takes place every morning.
All of us come in kind of at different shifts. My day, I work on the pizza line and I'm here pretty much from 8:30 to 1:30. But so we've got people that come in at 7 o'clock or 6:45 to do some of the hot main dish meals and cookies and hot rolls and such.
I put together the veggie plates and the dip. So I come in on Mondays and Wednesdays. I come in at early in the morning, like 7:15 and then 8. And then the other days I come in at 9:30 and I do other prep things and stocking.
A common misconception among students is the amount of food that is made from scratch.
In the bakery, everything. Cookies, hot rolls, and cinnamon rolls. So everything we make here.
Oh, I'd say a lot of our food is, most of it probably. I mean, we've got our fresh made pizzas, we've got all kinds of hand-cut vegetables and fruits that are prepared every day. Cookies, of course, that's everybody's favorite. Those are made fresh every day. So a lot of it is.
With Homestead having around 2,300 students, some staff consider feeding everyone as a challenge, while others find it more enjoyable.
Well, we do manage, but the challenge is deciding how many are going to go to which line, you know, trying to decide, you know, from previous weeks, how we've done, say, on a Thursday in previous weeks, you know, do we prepare more or less? Often we have to look at what is going on the main line to see what they're having, and if that's a real popular thing, we may cut back a little on another line, you know. So we manage, but it is difficult. It's a math game.
Not to me. I mean, I enjoy doing the baking, and it's not really a challenge to me with what I do.
Next time you see the Homestead staff working hard at making your lunch, make sure to thank them for their service and feeding everyone at Homestead. Reporting for HHS In Depth, I'm Reed Burton.
As ISSMA prepares for a state qualifying concert tomorrow, reporter Michaela Godfrey brings you the story over the students who help make up our spring band and orchestra.
Every year, a select group of Homestead students from band and orchestra go to ISSMA in order to compete in the solo category against other high school musicians to display their musical talents.
ISSMA is an acronym that stands for the Indiana State School Music Association. It has to deal with a lot of musicians and very talented musicians in the state of Indiana.
ISSMA is the Indiana State School Music Association, and it's just a bunch of people who come together and they prepare pieces, and then they all play for judges in the quest to win a gold medal.
It's a contest where you can prepare a solo or an ensemble work and play it for some judges and get some feedback.
These students dedicate a lot of their time throughout the year in order to be successful at the regional and state competitions.
In order to compete at ISSMA, you have to prepare a solo or an ensemble work, and then you fill out the paperwork and you compete.
You find a piece that is acceptable for your specific division, and then you just practice it, and then you go off and play it for judges.
If you want to do a solo, you should pick your piece sometime in July or June or even earlier than that, and you want to keep working on it very vigorously, and then you'll be ready for the district competition at Carroll High School in either late January, early February. And then if you get a gold, then you'll get to go on to state, which is at North Central High School in Indianapolis in late February.
After putting long hours of work in, they enjoy seeing their progress as musicians.
My favorite part of competing at ISSMA is seeing all my hard work pay off.
The end after we had all played and we won the gold, and it was just really good to see how all of our hard work paid off.
If you would like to see these students perform, they will be competing as an ensemble at Kokomo High School tomorrow at 9 a.m. Reporting for HHS In Depth, I'm Michaela Godfrey.
Here's reporter Ganit Lauria with a message for current juniors as National Honor Society is looking to fill its board for the next school year.
Homestead's National Honor Society Board consists of 12 members who exemplify leadership, service, and character. Juniors now have a chance to apply themselves to this prestigious role.
What it means to be on the NHS board is that you have basically a really nice platform to portray not only what you can do for Homestead, but also what you can do for the community. Like, we're known to be a club that honors academic excellence, but along with that, we also honor the fact that along with your academics, you are an active member of the community, and not just of Homestead's community, but like the Allen County as a whole.
When applying to be a board member, juniors should remember to present themselves in a true and respectful manner.
When I made the decision last year to apply for the board, I made sure I had like all of my hours, my 10 hours I need for NHS, so 5 NHS sponsored and then 5 non-NHS sponsored. And then I also filled out the application. That is like a vital part of your decision, like the board's decision for you to be on the board, because it really is like, it's like a holistic snapshot of the applicant, like along with the serious questions we have on there.
When we create the board, we want each person to be unique and bring different qualities to it. So just kind of try to highlight those qualities in yourself, highlight the reasons for you to be on the board.
Members would like to acknowledge a few pointers before juniors send in their applications.
The biggest mistake that I've observed so far in the applications is that they're not following the directions and that they need to title the application correctly and submit it into PDF format, because there are people who haven't done that and you know who you are.
I'd say just generally be yourself on your application. Obviously, we're going to consider academics and other things of that sort. But, what truly shines through is, you embodying your personality.
Applications are due on April 30th by 11:59 p.m. and should be sent to Vice President Pamela Chen's email. Reporting for HHS In Depth, I'm Ganil Alaria.
You may have wondered why there was a dummy sitting around the school's hallways last week. Reporter Garrett Willis tells you why.
Last week you may have seen a dummy sitting in various places around the school, but if you aren't a senior, you would not have understood why. Last Friday, our school resource officer, Mr. Kramer, showed a video for seniors during ISSMA testing that went over adult decisions and consequences after graduation, co-starring the dummy. Officer Kramer wanted to show what happens in the real world when you get involved with Fort Wayne's legal system, as he took Mr. Dunn and the dummy through an entire sequence of an OWI. The video also included interviews with various people involved with the legal system, including police officers, prosecutors, medical and ambulance personnel, and people employed at the Allen County Jail. The video was produced by students associated with HHS In Depth and could become a yearly occurrence for seniors to view. So if you're a senior, look forward to this time next year to see another original film produced by Officer Kramer and the Communications Department. For HHS In Depth, I'm Garrett Willis.
And now Garrett Willis heads over to his set of the 2-minute drill. This week you'll learn about our softball team.
Hello friends, I'm Garrett Willis and it's time for a tradition unlike any other, the 2-minute drill. While the success of the football and basketball teams may get many of the headlines here at Homestead, there's been a team in recent years that has had some sneaky success, the softball team. They were a game away from the state championship game a year ago, and they have one of the longest tenured head coaches at the school. So let's give them the headline this week. Your feature this week is over the softball team. The softball team is still without a notch in the loss column this year, as players on the team have been proud with their unblemished record up to this point.
So far we've played pretty well. We haven't lost a game yet, so I can't complain.
Up to this point, our season's been pretty good. We've started off with 8 straight wins, competing well and working together really well, staying motivated as a team, and really improving individually.
We've had a great start to this year. We're undefeated so far, but we still have a lot of very good games left, but we've also had some really close games that we came out on top, and I'm really proud of the way that we've been working this year so far.
Coach Clagg is one of the few coaches at Homestead with 300 wins, and his presence around the players makes them not only better players, but better people.
I think he has really good leadership for us as a whole. He does a great job of getting the field ready for us so that we're able to play our games, and his influence on our team is very positive.
Coach Claggs helps us stay motivated throughout the game, really giving us good advice on hitting and defending. He helps us stay motivated in practice by working hard and making sure that we're doing our job.
The team made a long postseason run to the semi-state last year, but this season they have their sights set even higher, looking to achieve even more in this year's campaign.
Our goal is to make it back to semi-state, to beat Leo again.
Since we're not in a conference, our goal is always to win the next game. When we get to the sectional tournament, let's get as far as we can in the tournament. Last year we did get to the semi-state, but it's not a given. It's difficult to accomplish that, but we hope to do that again and maybe more this year.
A part of softball which many people overlook is defense, as this season has provided many web gems or spectacular defensive play.
Best play on defense I'd have to say is Lauren Selking during the Norwell game. She got a pop fly in the outfield and center field and threw it to home plate for a double play and got her out.
I would say our best play is Riley throwing it to first to get an out. She's done that twice this season. She's a really good outfielder.
Oh, we've made a lot of good defensive plays. We're very strong defensively. Lauren Selking's made a lot of nice catches in center field, and threw in a 3-2 win against Dwenger, she threw a girl out at home plate.
The team rolls on tomorrow with their undefeated record, as they'll be in action for a doubleheader at home against Delta. We've got another big weekend in Spartan athletics, as tomorrow the boys golf team will be in action at the Wawasee Invitational. The girls tennis team will be hosting the Homestead Invitational. The baseball team will be playing 2 against Northrop. The softball team will be hosting Delta. And the girls track and field teams will be at the Lime City Relays at Huntington North. Best of luck to all Spartan athletes competing this weekend. Your quote of the week comes from the legendary football coach and player Don Shula, with him saying success is not forever and failure is not fatal. That'll do it for this week's edition of the 2-Minute Drill. I'm Garrett Willis. Have a wonderful weekend, and I guess we'll see you back here next week.
And now it's time for another weekend weather forecast. Here's Joe Swimeller with another Whether or Not.
Hello, Homestead. Welcome to another edition of Whether or Not. I'm your host, Joe Swimeller, and here to remind you that even though I predict the weather, I try to predict it as accurately as I can. No one can truly predict the nature of the weather, you know? It's just all God's plan. So, with that being said, let's go check out what this weekend has in store for us. Today we'll see some partly cloudy skies with a high of 58 and a low of 39. Tomorrow that trend will continue with a high of 53 and a low of 31. And on Sunday, get ready for some sunny skies with a high of 59 and a low of 40. Well, that's all the time I had for this week, Homestead. Be sure to catch me in the hallways or out in public if you see me. Your quote of the week comes from my boy Jersey Drake, who once said, "Now she want a photo, you already know though, you only live once, that's the motto, YOLO." Have a wonderful weekend, Homestead.
Well, that wraps up this edition of HHS In Depth. I'm Jack Adams.
And I'm Jessica Walter. Thank you for watching today.
And now here are this week's Pictures of the Week.
To have your photo in the running for Picture of the Week, just email us a high-resolution photo in landscape mode with your name and grade level to hhsindepth@gmail.com.
Today we leave you with a PSA video put together by Mrs. Merkling's environmental science class, teaching you the proper methods on how to recycle your trash.
Have a great weekend, and we'll see you back here next week.
Five, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Plastic, glass, styrofoam, and paper can also be recycled. Remember, take the caps off for recycling plastic bottles. Remember, no food scraps. Keep in mind that we have recycling bins in every classroom.